Okay, you want to start a business. Some beginners want to start small and grow. Others want to get started more aggressively and may not have the capital needed. But how do you get the money? The task of raising money for a business is not as difficult as most people seem to think. This is especially true when you have an idea that can make you and your bankers rich. Actually, there is more money available for new business ventures than there are good ideas.
This cat sounds like she's from 1982.
A very important rule to learn. Anytime you want to raise money, your first move should be to put together a proper prospectus. The prospectus should include a resume of your background, your education, training, experience, and any other personal qualities that might be counted as an asset to your success. It's also a good idea to list the various loans you've had in the past, what they were for, and your history in paying them off. You'll have to explain in detail how the money you want is going to be used. If it's for an existing business, you'll need a profit and loss record for at least the preceding 6 months and a plan showing how this additional money will produce greater profits. If it's a new business, you'll have to show how your proposed business plan, your marketing research, and projected costs, as well as anticipated income figures with a summary for each year over at least a 3-year period. It'll be advantageous to you to base your cost estimates high and your income projections on minimum returns. This will enable you to ride through those extreme ups and downs inherent in any beginning business. You should also describe what makes your business unique, how it differs from your competition, and the opportunities for expansion or secondary products. This prospectus will have to state precisely what you're offering the investor in return for the use of his money. He'll want to know the percentage of interest you are willing to pay, and whether monthly, quarterly, or on an annual basis. Are you offering a certain percentage of the profits, a percentage of the business, or a seat on your board of directors? An investor uses his money to make more money. He wants to make as much money as he can, regardless whether it's short-term or in a long-term deal. In order to attract him, interest him, and persuade him to put up the money you'll need, you not only have to offer an opportunity for big profits, but you have to spell it out in detail, and further back up your claims with proof from your marketing research. Investors are usually familiar with high-risk proposals, yet they want to minimize that risk as much as possible. Therefore, your prospectus should include a listing of your business and personal assets with documentation, usually copies of your tax returns for the past 3 years or more. Your prospective investor may not know anything about you or your business, but if he wants to know, he can pick up his telephone and know everything there is to know within 24 hours. The point here is, don't ever try to con a potential investor. Be honest. Lay all the facts on the table. In most cases, if you've got a good idea and you've done your homework properly, an interested investor will understand your position and offer more help than you dared ask. When you have your prospectus prepared, know how much money you want, how it will be used, and how you intend to repay it, you're ready to start looking for investors.
Oh, this is tough to listen to.
As simple as it seems, one of the easiest ways of raising money is by advertising in a newspaper or a national publication featuring such ads. Your ad should state the amount of money you want. Always ask for more money than you have room for negotiating. Your ad should also state the type of business involved to separate the curious from the truly interested, and the kind of return you're promising on the investment. Take a page from the party plan merchandisers. Set up a party and invite your friends over. Explain your business plan, the profit potential, and how much you need. Give them each a copy of your prospectus and ask if they pledge $1,000 as a non-participating partner in your business. Check with current tax regulations. You may be allowed up to 25 partners in a Subchapter S enterprise, opening the door for anyone to gather a group of friends around with something to offer them in return for their assistance in capitalizing this business. You can also issue and sell up to $300,000 worth of stock in your company without going through the Federal Trade Commission. You'll need the help of an attorney to do this. And of course, a good tax accountant won't hurt either. It's always a good idea to have an attorney and an accountant help you make up your business prospectus. As you explain your plan to them, ask for their advice. Casually ask them if they'd mind letting you know or steer your way any potential investors they might happen to meet. Do the same with your local banker. Give him a copy of your prospectus and ask him if he'd look it over and offer any suggestions for improving it. And of course, let you know of any potential investors. In either case, it's always a good idea to let them know you're willing to pay a finder's fee if you can be directed to the right investor. Professional people, such as doctors and dentists, are known to have a tendency to join occupational investment groups. The next time you talk with your doctor or dentist, give him a prospectus and explain your plan.
Get a real cat job.
He may want to invest on his own, or perhaps set up an appointment for you to talk with the manager of his investment group. Either way, you win because when you're looking for money, it's essential you get the word out to as many potential investors as possible. Don't overlook the possibilities of the small business investment companies in your area. Look them up in your telephone book under investment services. These companies exist for the sole purpose of lending money to businesses which they feel have a good chance of making money. In many instances, they trade their help for a small investment in your company. Many states have business development commissions whose goal is to assist the establishment and growth of new business. Not only do they offer favorable tax and business expertise, most also offer money or facilities to help a new business get started. Your Chamber of Commerce is the place to check for further information on this idea. Industrial banks are usually more amenable to making business loans than regular banks, so be sure to check out these institutions in your area. Insurance companies are prime sources of long-term business capital, but each company varies its policies regarding the type of business it will consider. Check your local agent for the name and address of the person to contact. It is also quite possible to get the directories of another company to invest in your business. Look for a company that can benefit from your product or service. Also, be sure to check at your public library for available foundation grants. These can be the final answer to all your money needs if your business is perceived to be related to the objectives and activities of the foundation. Finally, there is the money broker or finder. These are the people who take your prospectus and circulate it with various known lenders or investors. They always require an upfront fee or retainer fee, and there's no way they can guarantee to get you the loan or the money you want. There are many good brokers, but there are some who are not so good. They all take a percentage of the gross amount that's finally procured for your needs. The important thing is to check them out. Find out about the successful loans or investment plans they've arranged and what kind of investor contacts they have. All of this before you put up any front money or pay any retainer fees. There are many ways to raise money, from staging garage sales to selling stocks. Don't make the mistake of thinking that the only place you can find the money you need is through a bank or finance company. Start thinking about the idea of inviting investors to share in your business as silent partners. Think about the idea of obtaining financing for a primary business by arranging financing for another business that will support the startup, establishment, and developing of the primary business. Consider the feasibility of merging with a company that's already organized with facilities that are compatible or related to your needs. Give some thought to the possibilities of getting the people supplying your product equipment to co-sign the loan you need for startup capital. Remember, there are thousands upon thousands of ways to obtain business startup capital. This is truly the age of creative financing. Disregard the stories you hear of tight money and start making phone calls, talking to people, and making appointments to discuss your plans with the people who have money to invest.
Oh, this sounds very dated.
Supporting documentation. And this shall include copies of pertinent papers that support the information contained in your loan proposal. For example, a lease, certificate of incorporation, partnership agreement, letters of reference, contacts, invoices, or vendor quotes. Collateral that you will use to secure the payment of the loan. Collateral can include business and personal assets such as inventory, equipment, and accounts receivable, or real estate, stocks, bonds, and automobiles. Financial statements, both personal and for the business. The business financial statement should be provided for the last 3 to 5 years of operation, including a year-to-date interim report. It should contain a balance sheet showing business assets and liabilities and a profit and loss statement showing revenues and expenses. The lender uses this information to calculate a debt-to-worth ratio for the business. Be prepared to provide copies of tax returns for the business for this same period. The personal financial statement should list your assets and your liabilities. Identify the names in which title to each asset is held and its fair market value. You should be prepared to provide copies of your personal tax returns. You may be asked for a list of credit references. Lenders will check your personal as well as your business credit rating. Lenders will carefully examine your financial statements and business projections. As a borrower, you must be fully prepared to answer questions about them. Personal guarantees of the owners and other principals usually are required, even from an established business. The lender may also request another party's guarantee, such as a co-signer or a surety, or may request a government guarantee from the U.S. Small Business Administration or other government agency. In addition to the personal guarantee that you give, under the Equal Credit Opportunity Act, the lender is allowed to require another person's guarantee should your application fail to meet the lender's standards of credit worthiness. If all or most of the assets listed on your personal financial statement are owned jointly with your spouse or someone else, the lender is likely to require such a guarantee, but the lender may not require that your spouse be the guarantor. In the case of secured credit, the lender is allowed to obtain a spouse's signature on certain documents when the applicant offers as security for the loan property that the two own jointly. In this case, the spouse or other co-owner may be asked to sign documents, such as a mortgage or other security agreement that would be necessary under applicable state law to make the property available to satisfy the debt. Sources of technical assistance. Before you approach a lender, you might want to seek the advice of another, more experienced set of eyes to review your business proposal, particularly if you are a first-time borrower. By doing so, you'd be getting the loan package in shape to make it easier for the lender to reach a favorable credit decision. There are some business support groups whose members could counsel you on how your package looks. A qualified counselor might even discover that you really don't need more money and instead suggest better inventory control, improved marketing techniques, or other changes that could actually solve your growth problems. One source of counseling available to small businesses is the Service Corps of Retired Executives, which is sponsored by the U.S. Small Business Administration. Others might include accountants and financial advisors. Once you are satisfied that your proposal is in good shape to present to a lender, set up an appointment to discuss your application. You will find that the lender can also be an excellent source of business and financial counsel. If your application is not approved, most lenders, banks especially, are conservative in granting business loans. Given the obligation to their stockholders and depositors, they need to be sure there's a good chance the loans they make will be repaid. If your application for credit is not approved, find out the reasons why. Some of the reasons that lenders often give for denying a business loan include insufficient owner's equity in the business, lack of established earnings record, a history of slow or past due loan payments, or insufficient collateral. Finding out the reasons may help you qualify the next time you apply. The lender will keep you informed about the status of your application. If you are considered a small business, when your business revenues are $1 million or less, or when you are applying to start up a business, a lender has 30 days to let you know, either orally or in writing, whether or not you get the loan. The 30-day period begins after the lender has received all the information needed to evaluate your credit request. If your application is denied, the lender must give you either a written statement of the reasons of denial or a written notice telling you of your right to obtain the reasons in writing. This notice may be given to you during the application process or at the time of denial. The lender also will keep for 1 year all records relating to your application. Different rules apply for larger businesses, those with more than $1 million in revenue. Within a reasonable period of time after getting all the necessary information on which to base a decision, the lender must decide and let you know whether or not you will get the credit. Then you have 60 days in which to ask for a written statement of the reasons why you were denied credit. This is important to remember because the lender need not notify you of this right. The creditor will keep records of your application for at least 60 days after telling you of the credit decision. If you request that records be kept longer or ask for a written statement of those reasons for denial, records will be kept for 1 year. Equal Credit Opportunity Act. Obtaining credit can be a difficult process for any business owner and especially for first-time borrowers. But keep in mind that different lenders have different standards. If you do not meet the standards of a particular institution, you still may qualify elsewhere. If you have a full understanding of why the initial lender didn't approve your application, with time and more attention to these areas, you can improve your proposal as a result and may succeed the next time you apply. Women and minorities may be concerned that they have received less than favorable treatment, which is unrelated to their credit worthiness. All business applicants have certain protections against unlawful discrimination under the Equal Credit Opportunity Act. This act makes it illegal for lenders to deny your loan application, discourage you from applying for a loan, or give you less than favorable terms than another applicant because you are a woman or a minority group member. Under the law, a lender may not take such factors as sex, race, national origin, or marital status into account. In addition, the lender may not ask for information about your spouse unless your spouse has some connection to the business, or unless you are relying on your spouse's income to support your credit application or relying on alimony, child support, or separate maintenance payments to establish credit worthiness. But the lender may ask you for information about your spouse if you are living in or you are relying for security on property located in a community property state. Arizona, California, Idaho, Louisiana, Nevada, New Mexico, Texas, Washington, or Wisconsin. Whether your business is large or small, if you are not granted the credit, be sure to discuss any questions you may have with the lender. If you need help.
Why would a cat need a loan?
If you are not granted credit by the lender and you believe the lender may have acted unlawfully, you can seek further assistance from the regulatory agency that supervises the institution. A list of some of the agencies is contained in this recording. If it becomes necessary to seek legal assistance, this act provides some remedies. If you have been denied credit because of unlawful discrimination and are able to prove it, courts may actually award damages and in some circumstances may impose punitive damages against the lender. If a lawsuit alleging discrimination is successful, the court may also award costs and attorney's fees. Federal enforcement agencies. All creditors are subject to the Equal Credit Opportunity Act and Regulation B issued by the Federal Reserve Board. which contains specific rules governing credit transactions. Would you like to realize your goals? Maybe you'd like to run your own business, expand your material possessions, or succeed in the arts. There is no one path to the pot of gold, but people of all backgrounds have found it. Whether you want to follow the ways of the great financiers, famous politicians, or movie stars, there are common codes of conduct each of them have followed, and in many cases they have shared their secrets so you can follow their footsteps. If you wish to know the road up the mountain, ask the person who goes back and forth on it, said the ancient sage Zenrin. What better way is there to know the secrets than to ask those who made it? What goals do you want to achieve, and what amount of effort can you commit? You may want money for the extra things in life, money to build a corporate empire, or money to support yourself while you pursue the fine arts. Perhaps you'd like to take the risk to start something new in your life. You may want to open your own business, devote your energies to an artistic career, or reap the benefits of your yearly endeavors with vacations several times a year. What will bring you happiness? The satisfaction of success takes many forms. Not only are people seeking financial fortunes, but also the goal of peace of mind. Do you worry? You might be concerned about your health or your family's well-being. You may be anxious about the added expenses of education, medical bills, or the steady increase in the cost of living. There are ways out of the endless cycle of worry, stress, and anxiety. Right now, you can achieve the accomplishments you dream of. When you are ready to put your whole effort into realizing your goals, you will succeed. What are riches? Had I but plenty of money, money enough to spare, wrote Robert Browning. And money is the greatest attribute of riches. A universal desire, money is the materialization of riches, the stuff that makes the rest possible. Are you looking for financial security, for retirement, for education, or leisure? Riches are the overflowing abundance of material possessions, houses, cars, boats, furnishings, everything you've ever wanted. Centuries ago, Horace wrote, "By right means, if you can, but by any means, make money." For many, it is a path toward happiness, a cure-all for worry and peace of mind. For others, riches come in the form of satisfaction and personal independence. Satisfaction comes from an accomplishment in employment or attaining goals. It is that feeling of contentment and confidence from a task well done. Riches are closely linked with success, and with that comes fame and acknowledgement. Success might be the feeling of well-being from the rewards of good effort, or the enthusiasm and vitality triggered by recognition. Success is how well I enjoy the minutes, says producer Norman Lear. Throughout history, the people who live with riches often achieve them by hard work, diligence, and a belief in themselves. For some people, it took courage, genius, and stamina. But for many others, it took nothing special but the desire to turn dreams into reality. Whether you want to make millions of dollars, have recognition as an artist, or personal freedom, you have the ability to make your life as rich as you want. Think about what you desire. It may not be cash, but what it can buy. Or it may be those feelings of inner satisfaction from creating something strong or beautiful. You may want personal independence from the work week or freedom to live anywhere you want. You may be looking for something meaningful in life, something other than the things money can buy. Whatever your goals, and however difficult they seem to accomplish, you have the ability to become who you want. Take a look. Can you see yourself surrounded by riches? Picture the world open and in front of you, ready to become the form of your dreams, ready to stage your desires. Why then, the world's mine oyster, wrote Shakespeare, which I, with sword, will open. Who is successful? Many people who achieve fortune are not born rich. Every type of person can become successful. There are saints, scoundrels, philanthropists, thieves, poets, and politicians, young and old. There are no limitations or physical boundaries for success. Success comes to those who think about success and strive for it. Although many rich financiers at the turn of the century had no formal education, they overcame that and went on to great fame. Some people who strive toward a single goal early in life and often attain that goal while still young. Others are willing to risk new adventures later and attain success. "It's never too late to learn," wrote Malcolm Forbes. "I learned to ride a motorcycle at 50 and fly balloons at 52. Whatever your task, whatever your obstacles, you can be as successful as anyone else. Study the people who accomplished recognition in your area of pursuit. How did they achieve their goals? And don't be afraid that you don't have what it takes. As Daniel Webster wrote, there's always room at the top." Forming conviction. The single attribute that every successful person has is the one pointed devotion to attain a goal. "There in the sunshine are my highest aspirations," wrote Louisa May Alcott. "I can look up and see their beauty, believe in them, and try to follow where they lead." What are your desires? How can you form them into definite goals that you can attain? Maybe you're studying a craft or skill. Perhaps you're caught in a rung of the corporate ladder, or you might feel constricted by your family and the environment around you. Which star are you reaching for? Take the time to think about your own aspirations. Look inside to find what feels right. Almost everyone entertains the notions of fame and fortune, but put on the costume that fits you. Conviction requires certain qualities. You may be sincere and willing to assume responsibility, and you need the self-discipline necessary to work toward your goals. Are you prepared to achieve your dreams? Can you form their reality in your mind? Will you devote your entire being to attaining what you want? On your own. Most millionaires are nonconformists. So are the most famous actors and actresses, and the most prominent artists. Writers are known for their individual traits and eccentricities. Your convictions and goals are your own business, even when you find help along the path. Mentors often take people under their wings to nourish and teach, or spiritual guides will show you the path to attainment, but you're on your own to achieve. Cultivate a sense of justice and an ability to make decisions. Cooperate with everybody and develop your own self-respect. And follow good criticism and advice after you've judged carefully. J. Paul Getty once said, "I advise young millionaires to be skeptical of advice. They should advise themselves. They should form their own opinions." Seize the day. People are judged by what they think and what they say, but the true measure of their character is what they do. Anyone who has achieved success has done it by action. What opportunities can you act upon? F.W. Woolworth saw a need for small, inexpensive items and opened a chain of stores that grossed billions of dollars. All successful people the world over have found the opportunities for their own special talents and acted upon those ways to achieve. Why wait for time to pass? There's never a better time than now. How they think. Thousands of potential millionaires are born each year, and making $1 million is coming closer to everyone's pocket. What advice did the moneymakers follow? Aristotle Onassis worked 18 hours a day to maintain his fortune. He started as a welder and aimed for the top. "You have to think money day and night," he said. "You should even dream about it in your sleep." Even Proverbs advises, "In all labor there is profit." Do you have what it takes? There are qualities of endeavor and achievement that are common to many people who make it to the top. The following questions are a guideline to self-enterprise and attaining your goals. Do you prefer to work for yourself than for others? Are you well informed on current business and political affairs? Do you pay attention to what other people say? Can you finish a job even when it's difficult or unpleasant?